when you have a minute, visit the KXO website, kxoradio.com. Follow us on Facebook, KXO Radio Imperial Valley. All sorts of neat things on our Facebook page. Oh, and of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free.
How about some birthdays today? Happy birthday to Aisha Gell, Carolyn Hillfiker, Bertha Ramos, Arnie Eaton, Karen Marquardt, June Pavayo, Phyllis Nickel, Jorge Ruiz, Gustavo Villegas, Stella Sandoval, Angel Varela, Michael Max Banuelos, Barbara Salazar, Jose Ochoa, Brenda Hinojosa, and Alex Perez. Happy birthday to you from all of us here at KXO.
The Imperial County Air Pollution Control District delivers real-time information about the quality of the air you breathe. Visit the website at apcd.imperialcounty.org to stay informed about air quality around the valley. The website also includes information for upcoming meetings, programs, and there's access to the dust cams set up around the valley. Visit apcd.imperialcounty.org today.
And we will visit them again. In fact, I'll have to pull that back up because that wasn't supposed to play. Once again, a lot of things, a lot of moving parts here. That is a commercial from right here. I'm going to go ahead. Give me a second, guys, as I figure all this out. Right now, we're just kind of like waiting our time before we get to the California headline news and the other possibilities of news. There's all kinds of news on the planet here nowadays. I'm going to pull this back up once again. That was the pollution thing. My apologies. Just hold on one moment. I'm getting to it. You know, the fact there was no NFL thing kind of threw me quite a bit, actually. And there it is. We're going to pull that right back on the board, and that's perfect. Anyway, we're just kind of like putting in some filler. At this point, this would be where Carol and Jean would just kind of like banter a little bit, bring to your mind some things that maybe are kind of fun and interesting, I suppose. A man was fishing in Florida when a shark bit him, severely injuring his arm, officials said. The man, who was in his 40s, was on a boat at the time of the attack, which unfolded around 11 a.m. Friday at West Rock near the port of Fernandina, which is north of Jacksonville near the Florida-Georgia border. Nassau County Sheriff's Office spokesperson Alicia Tarancon said a responding deputy boarded the man's boat and applied a tourniquet to his right arm to slow the bleeding. You're fishing, and then you're getting bit by a shark. The deputy then drove the boat to shore where rescue crews were waiting, and the victim was airlifted into a hospital. Ed was in critical condition. That's terrible. He's expected to recover, Tarancon added. This attack comes well out after a well-known surfer and lifeguard was killed by a shark in Hawaii on a Sunday. And let's see what we're doing here next. We are going to go ahead and do this once again. This is... I believe this is the World and California News headlines are brought to you by the Imperial County Air Pollution Control District, delivering real-time updates about the air that you breathe. Pushing buttons.
CBS News Brief. Police in Utica, New York say a 13-year-old shot by an officer after allegedly displaying a handgun is dead. An investigation is underway. There's more fallout now from President Biden's lackluster debate performance this week, as Republicans are cheering former President Trump and Democrats are in disarray over what should happen next. Some voters are worried about their choices. CBS's Torian Small.
The president conceding his poor debate performance, leaving Trump's many falsehoods unchecked, and leaving Democrats rattled, with some calling for him to drop out of the race.
Iran's presidential election is headed to a runoff between a hardliner and a reformist.
Vote counting continues, but it's already clear neither of the frontrunners has a clear majority, which means a runoff between the reformer Masoud Pezeshkian and the hardliner Saeed Jalili next Friday.
That's CBS's Elizabeth Palmer. CBS News Brief. I'm Allison Keys.
The Imperial County Air Pollution Control District delivers real-time information about the quality of the air you breathe. Visit the website at apcd.imperialcounty.org to stay informed about air quality around the valley. The website also includes information for upcoming meetings, programs, and there's access to the dust cams set up around the valley. Visit apcd.imperialcounty.org today.
California headline news. California leaders are reacting to the U.S. Supreme Court decision that allows cities to enforce bans on homeless people camping outside. Sacramento County District Attorney Tin Ho supports the High Court's ruling.
It's going to really show that the city of Sacramento was on the wrong path. They used this particular rule to do nothing, to paralyze and tie their own hands.
California voters will decide this fall whether to increase penalties for drug possession and theft. Los Angeles Councilwoman Tracy Park announced Friday that the Homelessness, Drug Addiction, and Theft Reduction Act has officially qualified for the November ballot.
We have an opportunity to make a course correction that will help us start cleaning up the streets. Let's make crime illegal again, and let's start holding people accountable for their own actions. Let's get this right, and let's repeal Prop 47.
Mike Salceda, California Headline News.
World and California news headlines have been brought to you by the Imperial County Air Pollution Control District. Log onto ImperialValleyAir.org for real-time information about the air you breathe.
We see a lot of news about teens vaping, but teens see something else. Videos on social media that glamorize it and downplay the dangers of nicotine. How can parents talk so kids will listen? Use facts. 1. Nicotine can rewire teens' brains. 2. It can make teens more anxious. 3. Changes to the brain can be permanent. So even when it hides behind a new look, nicotine is brain poison. Go to undo.org for more.
We're chatting with our guest, always safety first, 811 Megaphone Man.
Call 811 before you dig.
You never stray from your mission of letting homeowners, landscapers, and excavators know you should always call 811 before you dig.
Call 811.
Call for both small and big jobs. And 2 working days in advance?
811.
Any parting words? And I'm guessing they will be.
Call 811 before you dig.
Brought to you by Southwest Gas.
811.
Page 1 of the local news is a service of El Centro Motors Quick Lane and Auto Centers with 3 locations to serve you at El Centro Motors in the Brawley Auto Center, at Highway 86 at Julia Drive, and at the Imperial Valley Mall. Let's see what we got with our local news. 4th of July fireworks. Independence Day is next Thursday. The day is full of traditions and celebrations. One of them is fireworks. The fireworks are on sale in Imperial County, but they are only legal within the city limits of Brawley, Calexico, Calipatria, El Centro, Imperial, Holtville, and Westmoreland. Only safe and sane fireworks are legal in the cities. All fireworks are illegal in the unincorporated communities of Imperial County. That includes Heber, Nyland, Ocotillo, and Sealy. Anything that explodes or shoots up in the air, such as skyrockets, is illegal everywhere. Use of fireworks purchased in Mexicali could lead to a fine or even jail time. And so far, their Conserve Alert is a success. So far, IED issued a Conserve Alert earlier this week. They say so far residents have done very well. They have conserved enough energy to avoid service interruptions. The alert is not over. It will continue until at least July 2nd. The Imperial Irrigation District is asking residents to continue to curb energy use and help the overall grid by setting your thermostat to 78 degrees or higher. Avoid using major appliances between 4 to 9 p.m. and turning off all unnecessary lights. More ways to save energy can be found at the IID website. KXO News Time is 7:42. Be back after this moment.
Before you head out on the road, head into El Centro Motors Quick Lane Tire and Auto Centers. Ask for the works. Trained technicians will change the oil using up to 6 quarts of synthetic blend oil. Change the filter, rotate the tires, top off the fluids, check the belts, hoses, battery, and brakes, all for one low price. It's the works at Quick Lane Tire and Auto Centers, at El Centro Motors, the Imperial Valley Mall, and the Brawley Auto Center, or with their new mobile service wherever you are.
And now with some more local news. YCSO receives 2 grants. Arizona governor approves grants for YCSO. The grants are from the Office of Highway Safety. The 2 grants total $23,050. The Yuma County Sheriff's Office says the funds will be used to obtain new radar units for speed enforcement. Officials say Yuma County has seen an increase in speed-related violations and collisions where speed has been a contributing factor. The new RADAR radar units will improve the deputy's ability to conduct additional traffic enforcement in order to make the roadways safer. The YCSO said they look forward to working with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety to continue making Yuma County a safer place. And I think that's it for our first page. Page one of the local news has been the service of Quick Lane Tire and Auto Centers with 3 locations to serve you. Quick Lane services all makes and models, and you never need an appointment. Be back to have this message. KXO AM 1230 presents Let Freedom Ring. Celebrate Independence Day with 6 hours of music, stories, history, and special features. Let Freedom Ring on AM 1230 Wednesday, July 3rd from 6 p.m. to midnight with an encore performance on Thursday, July 4th from noon to 6 p.m. Let Freedom Ring is made possible by these fine sponsors.
Southwest Security, El Serape Restaurant, Valley Pest Control, and Sun Community Federal Credit Union.
It's America's birthday. Celebrate with us and let freedom ring. Stay tuned to local news, page 2. This one's brought to you by Burgers and Beer, serving the best burgers in town with daily lunch specials Monday through Friday and happy hours 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. every single day. And let's see, 100 pounds of meth has been seized. CBP seizes methamphetamine from the Sentry Lanes. The seizure was at the West Calexico Port earlier this week. A 34-year-old woman drove up to the port in the Sentry Lane. It says land, but I'm sure that means lane. After an initial inspection, the driver and the vehicle were sent to the secondary inspection area. In the secondary inspection area, a non-intrusive vehicle scan was performed using a port imaging system. Customs and Border Protection officers noticed irregularities in the floorboard and dashboard of the vehicle. A CBP K-9 team alerted to the presence of narcotics. Officers searched the vehicle and found 91 packages of methamphetamine. The packages weighed just under 100 pounds. The narcotics in the vehicles were seized. The vehicle was seized by the CBP. The driver was turned over to Homeland Security investigation. The seizure was the result of Operation Apollo. And also in Calexico, the Calexico project has been completed. Caltrans has reopened all lanes of State Route 98 between West Birch and East Birch and Imperial Avenue in Calexico. This marks the completion of improvements to the highway and the last phase of a $70 million infrastructure investment in Calexico. The $7.2 million improvements to State Route 98 included pavement resurfacing, new turn lanes, draining systems, bicycle lanes, street lights, and pedestrian ramps. The project was one of the series of improvements by Caltrans, the Imperial County Transportation Commission, and the City of Calexico that connects to the recently expanded Calexico West Port of Entry. The project was funded by a mix of state, federal, and local money. Calexico Mayor Camilo Garcia said, quote, "On behalf of the citizens of Calexico, I want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Caltrans, the state of California, and everyone involved in the successful completion of the State Route 98 widening project. The hard work that went into this project has not gone unnoticed." KXO News Time is 7:47. Be back after this.
At Burgers and Beer, we'd like to recognize Independence Day, the 4th of July, commemorating the Declaration of Independence, adopted on July 4th, 1776, establishing the United States of America. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts to all who serve our great country and to those that have served for our freedoms. To all of our friends, please have a safe and wonderful Independence Day. From your family at Burgers and Beer.
Now for some more local news. The 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb will be happening pretty soon. It is a way for the community to remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice on September 11th, 2001. It says, I don't know why this is in the news, it's written June 28th. The Memorial Stair Climb will be held on September the 7th. That's quite a few times away, but here, I'll read this nonetheless. During the event, participants walk or climb the equivalent of the 110 stories of the World Trade Center, carrying the name and photo of a fallen hero to symbolically complete their climb. The event is held each year at the Grandstand area at the Imperial Valley Fairgrounds. Those who would like to participate can register now, I see. Early registration is $25 through August the 23rd. On-site registration is $35. On-site registration begins at 6 p.m. Opening ceremonies are at 7:45 p.m. The event starts at 8 p.m. Pre-register online at iv911.org. Once again, that's iv911.org. And also, El Centro has a budget. The city of El Centro has a budget. A Thursday night special meeting, the El Centro City Council approved a balanced budget for fiscal year 2024-25. The budget has projected $40.4 million in expenditures with a revenue of nearly $38.7 million in revenue. The $1.8 million shortfall will come from the city's reserve fund. Public safety has been allocated slightly over 56% of the new budget. That includes new positions and operating expenses. The Capital Project Fund shows $26 million in projects, including public safety and public works infrastructure projects. The budget includes matching funds for road projects, including the South Imperial Avenue Extension Project and construction of the new police department building. According to Mayor Sylvia Marroquin, this budget reflects priorities that cover public safety, infrastructure improvements, parks, and recreation, and demonstrates that we are focused on the qualities of life of our residents. All right, that's excellent. That is local news page 2, brought to you by Burgers and Beer, the place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Bring the family or meet your friends at Burgers and Beer. I'll be back after this break.
The 60s and 70s await you again during a time trip back to the 20th century. The American Hit List is the show that takes you there, and I'll be your guide. This is Machine Gun Kelly. Join me for the adventure right here. To the Batmobile. Let's go.
Tune in to Machine Gun Kelly, Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on AM 1230 KXO.
It's time for a sports and weather world roundup, brought to you by Pioneers Memorial Healthcare District, affiliate of the Scripps Health Network, working together to provide you the best care. I'll go ahead and play for you the pre-recorded version of an earlier version of me. According to the National Weather Service, above normal temperatures will persist well into next week, especially across the western deserts. Expect daily high temperatures around 110 degrees. Across the lower deserts this weekend, speaking of this weekend, for today, sunny and hot. A high near 111, triple ones there. Calm winds becoming southeast around 5 miles per hour in the afternoon. And tonight's low will be around 84. It will be clear. South-southeast winds around 5 miles per hour, becoming west-northwest after midnight. And for Sunday, sunny and hot. Triple ones again, high near 111. Southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. And by Sunday night, mostly clear with a low around 86. And as the week begins on Monday, sunny and hot. A high near 111. By Monday night, mostly clear. A low around 85. It should bring up. There's going to be a little bit of a breeze coming in Monday night. 5 to 10 miles per hour, becoming west-northwest after midnight, but winds gusting as high as 20 miles per hour. But again, that's not until Monday. All right, so let's go ahead and extend this from sports to other things as well. Considering that we lost our, I don't even know if they have the NFL thing. I say, because I don't do this job very often, so I'm kind of left flailing around here. So I'm going to go ahead and read some more of the sports stuff. Have you been watching any baseball? I've been watching baseball. The Padres were in Boston, beating them 9-2 yesterday. That, by the way, is pretty good, and that's enough for a playoff spot if you're a Padre fan. That's the 5th seed. If the season were to end today, they are still 7.5 games behind the Dodgers. The Dodgers playing 6-14 ball. That's pretty good, but still only the second best record in the National League. The Phillies having the best at 6-59, 54-28. The Phillies are killing it. Right now, the Dodgers, if the season were to end, would have a first-round bye, which is a strange playoff format. They have that best of 3. If that's something that you like, I guess that's okay. That adds an extra team into the playoffs, but the best of 3 would mean the Padres would travel to Atlanta if it were to end today. Let's see what else we got in baseball. The New York Yankees starting pitcher Marcus Stroman took responsibility for losing my cool, he said, quote unquote, as he has to be better after yelling at teammate Gleyber Torres during Friday night's 16-5 rout of the Toronto Blue Jays. Why would you yell at your teammate if you're winning 16-5? But I don't know. The right-handed yelled at second baseman Torres after New York failed to turn a double play in the 5th inning, leading to a run. It was frustrating, Stroman said. I felt like I made a good pitch. That was a big spot. I wanted to have that turn there, and we didn't. Stroman said he spoke to Torres afterwards to clear the air. The pitcher later said in a social media post that raw emotion and passion are part of the game. Yankees manager Aaron Boone said he didn't see Stroman's outburst as divisive. No issues with where Stroh's mind, heart, and focus is, Boone said. Sometimes when you're competing like heck, it spills over a little bit. KXO News Time is 7:53. I'll be back after this.
Pioneers Memorial Healthcare District, ready to serve you and your family for all of your healthcare needs. Let our team of dedicated physicians guide you on your journey to better health. Pioneers is a recognized leader in healthcare and has more than 10 health centers and clinics throughout the Imperial Valley. When the need arises, don't hesitate to come and see us. We have services and locations in Calexico and Raleigh, and of course, our award-winning hospital, Pioneers Memorial. For more information on all Pioneer services, visit www.pmhd.org today.
And some more sports here. Orlando Cepeda, a Hall of Famer and 1967 National League Most Valuable Player, dies at 86. San Francisco, Orlando Cepeda, the slugging first baseman nicknamed the Baby Bull, who became a Hall of Famer among the early Puerto Ricans to star in the major leagues, has died. He was 86. The San Francisco Giants and his family announced the death Friday night, and a moment of silence was noted on the scoreboard at Oracle Park midway through a game against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Quote, our beloved Orlando passed away peacefully at home this evening, listening to his favorite music and surrounded by his loved ones. His wife, Nydia, said in a statement released through the team, we take comfort that he is at peace. It has been a difficult month for the Giants. Cepeda's death comes only 10 days after Hall of Famer Willie Mays died on June 18th at age of 93. Also in other sports, see, the Houston Astros shortstop Jeremy Pena misplayed a fly ball in Friday night's 7-2 loss to the Mets while participating in an in-game interview. Pena was involved in an interview with Apple TV Plus just before New York's Jeff McNeil popped up toward the shortstop area with 1 out in the bottom of the second inning. Pena was shaded toward the second base bag against left-handed hitting McNeil and ranged to his right and was on the edge of the outfield grass close behind the third baseman Alex Bregman. Neither Pena nor Bregman put his glove up to make the play on the pop-up, and the ball landed between them. Holy blank, Pena said as the ball bounced once before he grabbed it and tossed it back to the infield. Pena and Bregman appeared to glance briefly at one another. McNeil was credited with a hit and was picked off after that by pitcher Ronald Blanco 2 pitches into Harrison Batter's at bat. But the incident is of note because they were literally talking to the color commentators while the game was in play. Can you imagine if that was true in an NFL game? Like if the quarterback was going like, I think they might be blitzing on the left, and as he's calling the play, not probably very good, I would say. Let's see. This is, you've been listening to Sports World Roundup, brought to you by Pioneers Memorial Healthcare District. Log on to pmhd.org for more information about Pioneers Memorial Healthcare District. And I will return after this message.
Only 1 in 5 people with autism are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work.
Maybe it's because employers don't know what kind of jobs they can do. Like, what about a programmer?
That's a job for someone with autism.
How about a healthcare worker?
Yep. That is too. People with autism can do a lot of different jobs, but often get overlooked due to outdated stigmas. Introducing WIN by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring.
What about a ranch hand?
To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win.
All right, today's financial news is brought to you by Southwest Security, a locally owned company that protects you, your home, business, or construction site 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Well, stocks slide in the last session of the first half of 2024. Stocks closed out the first half of 2024 by pulling back, but the S&P 500 and NASDAQ Composite were still hovering around record levels. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 41 points, or 0.1%. The S&P 500 was down 0.4%. The NASDAQ Composite was down 0.7%. Both the S&P 500 and NASDAQ were within striking distance of their highest closes on record and even traded above those levels earlier in the day. The Dow rose 3.8% in the first half of the year. The S&P 500 rose 14.5%. The NASDAQ Composite rose 18%. The yield on the 2-year Treasury note rose slightly to 4.72%. The 10-year yield was up to 4.342%. Trading was choppy all day on Friday as markets reacted to the latest signs of cooling inflation, as well as last night's disastrous presidential debate for President Joe Biden, or that's 2 nights ago. The energy and financial sectors were rallying on hopes of another Donald Trump presidency, but such gains faded with most of the market as the day unfolded. With speculation swirling as to whether Biden will continue on his path to being the Democratic Party's nominee, markets may finally start paying attention to road to Election Day. Very good. We'll be back after this.
Southwest Security has been protecting properties 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, right here in Imperial and Coachella Valleys. Hi, this is Jason Jackson, owner of Southwest Security. I've been in the private security business for over 25 years and have always made it my mission to always provide my clients with the highest quality security services available. Your satisfaction is my #1 priority. And don't forget Southwest Postal, the only postal center in Imperial Valley with 24/7, 365 access to your post office box. Access when you need it. Located on the corner of 4th and Heil in El Centro.
Also, coming up, I'd like to add some things to our financial news. I thought this was pretty interesting. So, financial news, World News Roundup. Thank you, Southwest Security, for sponsoring this segment. This is interesting to me. Taking a daily multivitamin does not help people live any longer and may actually increase the risk of an early death, a major study has found. Researchers in the U.S. analyzed health records from nearly 400,000 adults with no major long-term diseases to see whether daily multivitamins reduce their risk of death over the next 2 decades. Rather than living longer, people who consume daily multivitamins, I should say, were marginally more likely than non-users to die in the study period, prompting the government researchers to comment that multivitamin use to improve longevity is not supported. Amazing, considering I take 4 or 5 of them. This financial news update has been brought to you by Southwest Security and Southwest Postal Service, the only postal box service offering 24-hour a day, 365 days a year service. Southwest Postal at 4th and Heil in El Centro. But that's it for the 7 o'clock news and everything else roundup. I think I did okay.
The best oldies on the radio. KXO El Centro on AM 1230. KXO.
Now it's time for your CBS News on top of the hour.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by T-Mobile.
I'm Allison Keyes. The nation is captivated by fallout from this week's first presidential debate of the 2024 campaign as President Biden appeared to lose his train of thought and failed to address some of former President Trump's falsehoods. Some Democratic voters say they are standing by their candidate.
He's not the perfect candidate, but Trump is a convicted criminal.
I'm not going to give up on him. I'm going to give him a chance.
Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson says perhaps Mr. Biden's cabinet should use the 25th Amendment and remove him from office for being incapacitated.
I would ask the cabinet members to search their hearts.
But CBS's Nancy Cordes has been speaking with sources about President Biden's political future.
They say there are no conversations here at the White House or at the campaign about Biden bowing out, and they say he has every intention of appearing at the second and final presidential debate on September 10th.
More possibly dangerous heat for parts of the nation. CBS News Bay Area meteorologist Paul Hagen.
It's going to be extreme heat in the south central U.S., excessive heat warnings and heat advisories in effect. The heat risk, which is essentially the threat of heat illness, is going to be in the high category, spreading across even more of the country as we head through the weekend.
This as tens of millions take to the skies and roads ahead of the July 4th holiday. CBS's Chris Van Cleve.
American, Delta, and United all expect to fly a record number of passengers, more